Hello, everyone. Joining us this morning, we have a special guest, U.S. Senator Ron Johnson, joining us for a few minutes. Senator, hope your morning is going well.
It is. Good morning, Bob. How you doing?
Really good, really good. Well, I guess we should start off with the confirmation of Judge Kavanaugh. That's kind of hit a little bit of a snag. Maybe your thoughts on it, if you would.
Yeah, the continuing saga. First of all, because there's been an awful lot of rhetoric surrounding this nomination, let's just kind of lay out the facts we know. Brett Kavanaugh served 12 years on the D.C. Circuit. There's 300 decisions out there. He's provided more information, more documents than any other Supreme Court nominee. This is, in terms of the time horizon, this is, really right in kind of the average amount of time that's taken from nomination to a potential confirmation vote. So there's nothing been rushed about this process or anything withheld. The only thing that's been withheld is what the information Dianne Feinstein, as ranking member of the Judiciary Committee, withheld from the chairman that is now obviously relevant to the nomination, but that should have been brought forward as soon as Senator Feinstein had that information. Now, she didn't have to talk about the name, but she certainly should have made Chairman Grassley aware of that, and then they could have worked together to determine how to protect the identity of Dr. Blasey Ford, as well as try and really figure out exactly what happened. And, of course, it's very difficult to figure out exactly what happened with the allegation from 36 years ago, and when you have one person is saying something happened and the other person is, unequivocally denying it. So again, it's the abuse of the process by the Democrats to this thing is pretty frustrating for, I'm sure Chairman Grassley, I can tell by the letters he's writing.
So basically his accuser has her shot tomorrow, and if she doesn't take it, she doesn't take it, right?
Well, that's what Chairman Grassley is saying. Again, that would not be unusual. It's like, okay, we've heard this. Are you going to testify or not? She eventually came forward, said she wants her story told. I'm not sure what you can learn through further investigation. If there are people that have information on this, they have every ability to contact the Judiciary Committee. They have investigative staff. You can write down all these stories, but the only other person that I've heard has anything. Well, there's two people. So, supposedly the other person that was Dr. Blasey said was in the room, he denies it, and then I guess somebody else on social media said they heard a buzz about this right afterwards in the school year, but apparently this thing occurred in the summer. So, again, anybody who has information can certainly come forward now, contact the Judiciary Committee. The committee has investigators, every bit as qualified as FBI investigators. They can take down the stories, and then once we have the information, each individual senator is going to have to make a determination themselves in terms of whether this incident is true or whether it bears any bearing on the nomination or their confirmation vote. So it's really going to be up to individual senators to decide with information that we do obtain. So that there's still plenty of time for people, if they have information, to come forward to Senate Judiciary Committee. That's the way the process should have played out starting in July. And I think you have to be pretty skeptical of Democrats' motives, the way they tried this thing out, leaked the individual's name. Again, there's plenty of time to get the information out here, and I think Chairman Grassley has done a very good job throughout this confirmation process.
We're trying to do something about the opioid crisis here in this country, and opioid package was recently passed. You commented a little bit on that. Maybe we can hear from you on that, if you would.
Well, this obviously is a scourge in our society. It is an epidemic. We were always talking about, I think, 64,000 deaths last year. Now we're up to 72,000 deaths. This isn't going away. Our family, I think probably almost every family in America has been touched in some way, shape, or form. In my case, it was a nephew that died of an overdose. And so this is affecting every community. It's not isolated within America. Then there are many causes. Over-prescription of opioids, when doctors, a generation were literally trained that the opioids presented no any kind of addictive risk whatsoever. Well, that's obviously been proven untrue. So what we're trying to do is grapple with what the realities are, trying to attack individual problems. For example, the fentanyl coming in from China from these labs and try and crack down on that, get advanced data. Trying to fund different, grant programs where we experiment with different treatment methods. Hopefully, we can determine the best treatments that have some positive effect. The treatment is very difficult, but from my standpoint, you have three legs to the stool: treatment, supply interdiction, then demand reduction. And of the three, and you have to address all three. Anything we can do to reduce the demand, start educating our young people. As we do with cigarettes, we've been very, very successful over a few generations of convincing people not to smoke cigarettes. But it takes a long-term effort in terms of advertising, public relations, and through our education system to again just point out the dangers. So there are a lot of bills in this package. We passed an earlier bill. This builds on that, but it's a very difficult problem.
There aren't many senators out there that can say that they have the NFL backing one of their bills. Tell us about that bill that would deal with drones during large public events.
Sure. During the confirmation process of DHS Secretary Nielsen, she talked to me about one of her top priorities. She'd been the chief of staff of General Kelly. So one of her top priorities was to be able to get the authority for DHS and the law enforcement under her jurisdiction to be able to counter malign use of drones. And my question was, are you telling me they don't have the authority? And the fact is, no one has the authority to counter in any way, shape, or form drones being flown over these public spaces. There's some limited authority within the DoD over their facilities and within the Department of Energy over their facilities, but nothing in terms of local, state, or federal law enforcement could do anything, including studying how to effectively do it. This is a very complex problem. So, all we're trying to do is pass just that first step that gives DHS and the law enforcement agencies under its jurisdiction the authority to begin to study how do you counter a malign use drone, and then give them the authority to be able to bring those drones down, either electronically or through more kinetic means, in the event that we really have the intelligence that there's something really, really happening. But NFL has experienced at least one drone going into a stadium, dropping, fortunately, only leaflets. But there can be obviously much more malign use than just dropping leaflets.
We've been speaking this morning with U.S. Senator Ron Johnson. Senator, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me on. Have a great day.